There are moments in baseball that never make the box score. Moments that no camera fully captures, that no broadcast team narrates, that no highlight package will ever include. Moments that exist only in the memory of the small number of people who were present when they happened, and that spread through the baseball world afterward, not through official channels or press releases but through the quiet, unstoppable movement of a story that is simply too human to stay contained. What happened in the corridor outside the Dodgers' visiting clubhouse after Thursday night's game is one of those moments. According to multiple sources with direct knowledge of what occurred, Julio Rodríguez appeared in that corridor approximately 40 minutes after the final out was recorded. He was not in his full uniform. He was not accompanied by teammates or coaches or any member of the Mariners' traveling staff. He was carrying a single box. And according to those who saw him arrive, he moved through that corridor with the specific, purposeful energy of someone who had been planning this moment for longer than just one evening. He was there to see Shohei Ohtani. And what happened when Ohtani opened that box, what crossed the face of the man who carries more pressure than perhaps any other player in professional baseball today, was something that nobody who witnessed it will forget for a very long time. Shohei Ohtani laughed. Not the polite, controlled smile that he offers cameras and press conferences. Not the brief, professional warmth he extends in public settings. According to multiple eyewitnesses present in that corridor, what came out of Ohtani in that moment was a laugh so genuine, so completely unguarded, so utterly unlike anything those around him typically see, that several people who witnessed it found themselves laughing too, without even knowing yet what was inside the box. To understand why this moment carried the weight it did, it is necessary to understand what Shohei Ohtani has been carrying in the weeks leading up to Thursday night. According to multiple sources close to the Dodgers organization, the external pressure surrounding Ohtani this season has reached a level that even the people closest to him describe as extraordinary, and that is a word they use carefully, because they are fully aware of who they are talking about. Ohtani is not a player who shows pressure publicly. This is understood by everyone inside the organization. His ability to compartmentalize, to walk onto a baseball field and perform at the highest possible level regardless of what is surrounding him off it, is considered by those who work alongside him daily as perhaps his most remarkable quality. More remarkable, even, than the physical gifts that make him unique in the history of the sport. But according to multiple sources, the people closest to Ohtani have noticed something in recent weeks that they describe carefully and quietly among themselves. Not a crack. Not a deterioration. But a weight. A heaviness that sits just beneath the surface of his normal composure and that occasionally becomes visible to those who know exactly what to look for. The ongoing speculation about his personal life. The relentless media attention from multiple countries simultaneously. The internal situation with the Dodgers roster that has created tension throughout the clubhouse. The expectation, never fully spoken but always fully present, that Ohtani must not only perform at an elite level every single day but must also somehow be the emotional anchor for an entire organization during a difficult stretch of the season. According to those close to him, Ohtani has been carrying all of it. Every day. Without complaint. Without visible fracture. But carrying it nonetheless. Julio Rodríguez knew. According to multiple sources familiar with the relationship between the two players, Rodríguez and Ohtani have maintained a genuine friendship that exists almost entirely outside of public view. This is not the kind of relationship that generates social media content or gets discussed in pre-game media availabilities. It is quieter than that. More private. Built across a series of interactions over several seasons that neither player has ever felt the need to publicize. According to those familiar with this friendship, Rodríguez is one of the very few players in Major League Baseball who communicates with Ohtani in a manner that is entirely free of the weight of what Ohtani represents publicly. He does not treat Ohtani as an icon. He does not approach their friendship with the particular deference that most people, even most professional athletes, unconsciously apply when they are around someone of Ohtani's global stature. He treats him like a person. Simply and completely. And according to those who have observed their interactions, this is something that Ohtani responds to in a way that is immediately and visibly different from how he responds to almost anyone else. The box, according to multiple sources with knowledge of its contents, was not expensive. It was not a luxury item or a formal gift of the kind that gets exchanged between players during milestone moments. According to those present when it was opened, the contents were so unexpectedly simple, so completely at odds with the gravity of everything surrounding both players in recent weeks, that the gap between expectation and reality was itself a significant part of what made Ohtani's reaction so immediate and so completely genuine. According to eyewitnesses, the moment Ohtani understood what he was looking at, something shifted in him that happened faster than any conscious response could account for. The weight that those close to him had been quietly observing for weeks, the invisible but palpable heaviness that had settled into his demeanor during this difficult stretch, simply lifted. Visibly. Instantly. And then he laughed. According to those present, it began as something small, a sound that surprised even Ohtani himself, as though his body had responded before his composure could organize itself. And then it grew into something full and unrestrained that filled that corridor and reached the people standing nearby and pulled them into it without permission. Several members of the Dodgers support staff who were present in that corridor reported afterward that they had never heard Ohtani laugh like that. Not once. In all the time they had been around him. This was not his public laugh. This was not the version of Ohtani that exists for cameras and interviews. According to everyone who witnessed it, what came out of him in that corridor was the laugh of someone who had been handed, without warning, exactly the thing they needed most, and had not known until that precise moment how much they needed it. Rodríguez's reaction to Ohtani's response, according to multiple eyewitnesses, was its own separate moment worth preserving. According to those present, Rodríguez watched Ohtani laugh with an expression that several people described as one of the most openly warm things they had witnessed between two professional athletes in recent memory. There was no performance in it. No awareness of being observed. According to eyewitnesses, Rodríguez looked at his friend laughing in that corridor and simply looked happy. Completely and without complication. Two players who had been on opposite sides of an extraordinarily tense series. Two players whose names had been attached to conflict and controversy in the days leading up to this moment. Standing in a corridor after the game was over, one of them holding a box, both of them laughing. According to multiple sources, nobody who was present in that corridor spoke about what they had witnessed for the remainder of the evening. Not because there was any instruction to stay quiet about it, but because there are moments that people instinctively understand belong to the people who experience them, and that the correct response to having witnessed something genuine is to carry it carefully rather than immediately converting it into content. The story reached the baseball world gradually. According to multiple sources, it spread first through the small network of people who had been present that evening, traveling staff, clubhouse personnel, a small number of players from both rosters who had seen or heard what happened. And as it moved from person to person across the following days, the reaction it generated was consistent in a way that is itself worth noting. Nobody who heard this story responded with cynicism. In a sports media environment where almost every narrative gets immediately processed through layers of skepticism and competitive interpretation, this story arrived differently. According to those who shared it and those who received it, there was something about the specific details of this moment, the simplicity of the box, the unguarded nature of Ohtani's response, the quiet deliberateness of what Rodríguez had done, that made the usual defensive posture feel unnecessary. Sometimes a story is exactly what it appears to be. And this one, according to everyone who encountered it, was simply that. For Shohei Ohtani, the days following Thursday night looked different to those observing him closely. According to multiple sources inside the Dodgers organization, the weight that had been visible beneath his composure during the difficult weeks prior seemed genuinely lighter. Not resolved. Not eliminated. The pressures that surround him are structural and constant and will not disappear because of a single moment in a corridor after a baseball game. But according to those who watch him most closely, something had shifted. Something small but real. The kind of shift that only happens when a person is reminded, by someone who knows them well enough to know exactly how to do it, that they are allowed, occasionally, to simply be a person. The man who carries the world's greatest pressure laughed like a child on Thursday night. And everyone who was there understood that what Julio Rodríguez brought in that box was not just a gift. It was a reminder that underneath everything, underneath the contracts and the expectations and the global attention and the weight of an entire sport's hopes, there is still just a person who can be made to laugh by exactly the right thing at exactly the right moment. And sometimes, that is everything.